Hello fellow developers. In this video, I want to show the transition and loading system. The framework comes packed with a system that allows you to switch between levels, all the while showing a nice loading environment. Additionally, I want to show you how to set up an intro screen such as this one. So, let us hop in the editor. So here we have a fresh project from the marketplace. And what we want to do is we want to create a system where we can switch between levels. So first of all, we have to create ourselves some levels. And this is what I'm going to do right here. I'm going to create a folder, tutorial, and I'm going to create a maps folder. Let me quickly see my keyboard, nice. And then I'm going to create myself a first level, which is going to be a default level. Again, this has been covered in the level setup, but I'm going to repeat this process right here. So to set up a level, we have to set our own player position in the world. You can find that by searching for the player position in the framework, and basically just drop that in. And now we have to assign a data asset. I'm going to create a new folder called data assets. So a level data asset has to be assigned to the level in order for the level to know the required information. And to do that, go under miscellaneous and create yourself a data asset and use the type PDA level. So we're going to call that DA underscore level tutorial, and this is going to be our menu level, so I'm going to call that menu. And in here we previously discussed that we have to set our pawns, and I'm going to take the simplest pawn possible, which is going to be our character pawn. So pawn desktop character, our character VR pawn, and our character mobile pawn. So these are going to be the default pawns that this level should be using. And here we can already see that we have two other sections. One is the transition section, one is the streaming level section, and this is what we are going to be covering in this video. But I'm going to close this for now, and we have to assign this data asset to the level, and we do this by dropping a map info in this world, and now simply assigning the data asset to this map info. So now this level data asset has been assigned to the world, and then I'm going to save that. I'm going to save that in as map and call that level tutorial menu. Yes. Sorry, I'm not really seeing my keyboard quite well. The microphone is in front of it. Okay. So we have our first level, and if we hit play, we see that our desktop pawn is already working in here, and we could start our experience. So we want to create, do the same procedure for the second level. So I'm going to create a new level, use the VR basic so we see the differences. Going to quickly drop a player position in it. And repeat the process of creating a data asset. So I'm going to call that miscellaneous data asset. We want the PDA level again, and we want to call that data asset level tutorial, and let's call that blocks because there are quite a lot of blocks in here. And now we also have to assign that, so let's drop a map info file in this world and assign the data asset to it, the blocks, and also assign our pawns here. So we are going to take the character pawns, the VR pawn, and the mobile char pawn. And then we want to save that, and let's call that map level tutorial blocks. So Now we created ourselves two maps. You can see that we have our two maps right here. And yeah, so let's go in the first one. So the general idea between level transitions is that we want to switch from this level, which is going to be our menu level, to our other level. And for that, we need some kind of indicator. So in a previous video, I've explained how to set up the panels. And I'm actually quickly going to use one right here as well. So I'm going to use a panel actor, which we are going to find in the blueprint. I think it's panel demo level large. And here we can set ourselves a panel, and we first have to create a panel as well. And again, this has been covered in a previous video about the panels, but I think it's a bit nicer if we use existing panels. So I'm going to copy over a large panel of our previous levels, and I don't know, so these are the ones from the example map. I'm simply going to take one of these, so we have something visually appealing. Let's take the grabbing one. I'm going to copy that over. And again, how to set up the panels has been covered in a previous video. Just want to mention that. So if these steps are a bit confusing, go ahead and look in that videos for further information. So I'm going to create myself a panel and call that panel level blocks. And this I can be dropping in here. And what we want to do is, let's see, if I hit simulate, is it it's turned around, so I will turn this thing 180 degrees, and yeah, maybe I'm just going to delete the sky sphere, so I'm going to, yeah, so it's a bit better to see. So here we have an existing panel that was taken from the menu level, and the content of that panel is in this level data asset right here. And here we can already see that we have the content with the pictures, but the pictures are not our concern at the moment. The important thing is that we have a level info file. Yeah, and the level info file is going to point to the level info that we want to load. And since we want to use this panel right here, that's being spawned right here, to switch in the blocks level, we are simply going to say that it's going to take us to the data asset level tutorial blocks. Remember, that is the one that we just created. That is the one that's pointing here. And now we so one very important context is that instead of loading a level map, we load these levels, these level data assets, and these will directly point to the map because we will enter the necessary levels that we need to load in these data assets. So if that doesn't make sense, let me quickly hit play, and you will see that the panel opens quite well. But now if I hit start, it will try to load this data asset level, the data asset level blocks. But on the data asset level blocks, we haven't defined which level it's supposed to be loading. So it's not going to find anything, and it's going to send us a trouble error. That's because it won't see the level that we need. So in our level tutorial blocks, we need to define which level do we actually want to go to. And in this case, we will want to set this level name, which is going to be map level tutorial blocks. This is where we want to go. We'll save and close. And now if we hit play, this will take us directly to the other level, and we see that we can already start. But we also saw we didn't have any transition yet. And that is because the level transition system works with streaming levels. And the way streaming levels work is you have this tab levels up here. And if you don't have it up there, then go in the Windows and take it from here. So if I, for example, would close that, I could open it up right here, and it would close it right there. Open it right there. And streaming levels are basically a way to put levels into different levels. And the way this system that we're going to create will work is that we will load an empty level and add our level as a streaming level, which will be loaded in a delayed. So we will create ourselves a level, which is going to be what I call a world level. So I'm going to call that tutorial world. And I don't think world is the official definition for it. I'll just use it everywhere to describe this concept of this level as a container for different other levels. So what we're going to do is we're going to drag and drop in our new tutorial world level our blocks level. So if it was a bit too fast now we have a tutorial world level, which is in this case a persistent level, and it contains the tutorial blocks level. So I can now make it invisible or visible, and it's basically set as a streaming level inside. The blocks level still exists by itself, so it would be this one if I open that. But if I were open the tutorial world level, the blocks level is just a streaming level inside. So it could be dynamically loaded and unloaded. And this is the feature that we're going to use for us. So instead of loading the tutorial blocks directly, we're going to load the tutorial word level, and this in turn will then load the tutorial blocks in the background. So let us quickly show you how to set that up. So instead of loading the blocks level directly, we're going to load the world level. So this is a map level tutorial world. And as a maps to load, it will load the blocks level. So let's put that in here. Perfect. So now what we have is, oh sorry, I didn't want to, I wanted to start from the menu level. So now from the menu level, if we hit play, you can go in the, we can go start the level, and then we can see that we have a transition right here. And then on the right side, here in the level tabs, actually we don't see anything, but as you saw, we had the transition, and we saw that it's that we start at in the level that is desired. So let's take this one step further. So now that our first transition was successful, we also want to be able to go back in the menu level. And let's say we don't want to go back over the panels, we want to go back directly. So I will show you how to do that. So if we go in the menu, no, we are already in the menu level, in the blocks level. Let's set a trigger on the blocks level to take us back. So I'm going to quickly create a, let's say a box trigger, plug that in here, and I'm going to place that between these elements. And in the level blueprint of this blueprint, I will assign myself an event. So assign on actor begin overlap, and if this is the other actor class to pawn, it should take us back. So how do we go back? So this is the main part that I want to show. So this logic is just to activate the trigger. So if you would go through the trigger, it would recognize us as a pawn, and then it should execute something. So we have to get the main game instance, and on this on the game instance we have a file called switch level, and switch level basically just what we also need to do is we have to put the self in the context. So what switch level does is it takes a level key and it will simply take us to this level. And since we just said we want to go back to the menu level, I will search for the level tutorial menu, and we can also use a fade. This just lets us fade to black, so it's not that abrupt. And this should already work. So if we hit play, we will encounter the same problem that we've seen before. So if we go through, it will try to take us back, but it doesn't find a URL. That's because the menu level is not part of the data asset of the menu level hasn't been set up as a streaming level. And as a good practice, and I would recommend that in the world level directly, we can also put in the menu level. So now both levels are inside, and you can see that you can switch between them by making the individual levels visible or not. And this is basically what our system is doing as well. And we will see how it does that in just a bit. So I'll copy the tutorial world name, and I will enter that in the level tutorial menu. And this is going to be our world level. And the maps to load, if we want to open the menu map, then we want to open the map level tutorial menu. So now, if we go back inside our blocks level, so now we can see that from the blocks level, we can load the menu level. But we also see that this menu looks kind of shitty. That's because there's no content in there yet. But at least we can transition from one level to another. So we open the panel, we switch to the blocks level. Again, it loads the loading screen. And this level we could do something, and we would move back. Perfect. So now the next step would be to create ourselves a beautiful transition, and there's also already a predefined transition class, which is the BP transition default, and it's certainly a very nice transition to use, and we will set this up now. So this is we're going to call this the menu, and the subtitle is going to be our tutorial class. And we have a skysphere info, so we could add a beautiful image to the skysphere. I don't have an image right now, I think. No, none in the framework, but if you have a 360 image, you can just drop it in here and it will be placed. For now, I will just be taking a nice color. So our tutorial, maybe, take a nice orange. Takes the alpha channel as well. I don't know if the alpha channel is necessary, but let's take it as anyway. And let's do that for the other level as well, for our blocks level. Call that blocks. Give it a subtitle. This is going to be our tutorial class. And let's give this a nice color as well. Let's make that blue. This kind of nice blue. Okay. and then yeah, I just wanted to check that. And now if we go in the level that in the menu level, we can start here. We can open our menu and switch, and now we see that we have a nice transition here that's actually working. And this is the same transition that you would see in VR, and I find it quite suitable. And now we can see that we have a menu. It's quite a bright color. Maybe you want to take darker colors, but this is how the basic default transition will look like. Again, you can create your own transition classes if you want to. Transition classes that's a transition class that's going to be used. I'm quickly going to show you how that basically looks. So this is a blueprint. There's a blueprint transition, and the default transition is basically the one that we opt to use. And if we open that up and go in the viewport, you will see that it's basically just a sky sphere with a character position inside and the widget inside that's going to be played. So it has a main widget, and this is basically what you see in front of you. So if you want to change that, maybe create your own blueprint transition and create your own widget class. So it's going to be very unique to your experience. So there's a lot of flexibility and in changing the environment. You could drop different elements in this blueprint as well, and this way you can create yourself some really nice transitions. But the basic one that we have looks totally fine. And this is what we're going to be using for now. And again, so changing this transition to your own custom transition is very easy to do by just creating yourself a new transition class, or duplicating this one and just changing the elements that you want, especially changing the main widget. So we can take a quick look at the main widget as well, just to so we have seen it. So what we have here, for example, if we hit play on the animation, we can see that this is the animation that we're seeing. And once it's finished, it will play the animation backwards. And this is all it does. Okay, so without spending any more time on that, there's one last step that we want to be doing. And we want to create ourselves an intro map. And basically the intro map is, or the intro itself is a map that is very similar to the transition map. And there's the template for that, for the map intro, that you can find in the Advanced Framework Core maps, and there you find the map intro. And what you should do is you should make yourself a copy of that file, and I will call that map tutorial intro. And what we can do is we can go inside here, and there we can see that we have a whole map to us, and it's setup actually the setup of it is very simple. It has a player position, and it has a widget in front of you. And if we hit, for example, simulate in here, you will see that the widget is being played. So this is the intro widget that you would see, and it's simply just a widget animation that is being played, and then the start button appears. And the only thing about the widget that needs to be known is there is a level to load, and this expects a level data asset. And the first level that we want to be loading is the tutorial menu. So obviously the first thing that we want to step into is the menu, and from the menu we want to go into different other classes. And basically this is all we need to know for the intro. And what we can do is we can we can simply play from this level, and it will show us the intro, and then we can switch inside. The reason why we were so low in this position, actually, and I'm going to show you that in a sec. So here we say that after the intro, we started the loading because the level needs to be the menu always needs to be loaded as well. And then we are in the menu, and from here we could switch into our other levels. So we already have like really nice transitions going for us, and already really nice look and feel to our application with multi-level environments and switching between different levels. Okay, so now if we would go back, it would take us back to the menu level, and this is basically the way it goes. This is how you switch between different levels. So one last thing that I want to do about the intro map, and oh yes, I want to terminate the session, obviously. We were so low. We were so low because we didn't have a level key assigned. Again, level keys are always essential, so I'm going to create a data asset for the intro level as well, and I'm going to do that under miscellaneous data asset, take a PDA level, and that's going to be a DA underscore level level, and that's going to be our intro. And I think I should call that tutorial intro, or else I'm going to mix that up with the current one that's already in the examples. So, and here we want to set our pawns, because just now he wasn't able to find the different pawns. And now if we would hit play, he will find the pawn that we want to use. One additional thing that I want to mention, and that's always a best practice, I would suggest putting all the levels into the world level, because especially the quest cannot deal with multiple different levels. So what he has to do is he can jump between the different levels inside one level, but there's only one level that he's able to load from the beginning, and this is going to be the world level. And whatever he does, he's going to just make the different streaming level appear as he needs it to be. So he would start in the intro level. So basically what he does is you would open the world level and he would load the streaming level intro. And then switching to another level, he would make that invisible, and then during a loading transition, he would make the menu level appear. And then again switching to another level, he would make that invisible and make that one appear. And that's something the Oculus Quest can handle. But if you don't have all of your levels inside the same streaming level, then it won't work. So the last thing that we would need to do, so for example, if we would hit play right now, because the world level is empty and it doesn't have anything assigned to it, if we would hit play right now, it wouldn't find anything because it says a level class is missing. That's because we haven't assigned a map info file to the world level, and we actually need to do that. So we need to place a map info file in the world level as well. So this is going to be a map info, but this map info file also needs a level key, and this is going to be the level key that we want to go in first. So this is going to be our tutorial intro. So the first thing that he's going to do is he's going to search for the tutorial. He's going to search for the level key, and he's going to open the first level that he finds, and this is going to be the tutorial intro because we want to start in the intro. And one thing that we still need to assign is we have to assign to the tutorial intro level data asset our world map and our maps to load. And let us quickly look them up. That is going to be our world map. So this is the one that we've been using all the time. And remember, our whole application is going to be in this one world map. And then the level that we want to load, if we are in the intro level, is the maps tutorial intro. So This is the world map that he should be looking at, and the map set we want to load is going to be this one. And now if we hit play inside, so now that we see he's loading our intro map, and actually this is a good place where we could start a different loading transition. So let's go in there and load the basic transition, for example. And if we hit play, you just see a loading element, and then he will take us directly to the intro map. And then inside the intro map, we can start our application. Again, this is just a widget and a widget animation. So you can create your own widgets or videos in there to have as an intro. And now we can hit play, and the whole application will be loading. And one thing I really want to remark is you can watch up here which level is being loaded. So if we hit play, for example right here, we see that this level is being unloaded, and currently this level is being loaded. It's not visible yet. It's only visible after the loading is done. And now we are inside. And now if you move back, we see this level has been unloaded, this level is being loaded, and we are back in our menu. And now we could switch to another level or do anything else. So you can have as many levels in here as you want. And this is basically all on the level transitions. One last thing that I really want to mention. So remember to put the map info file that loads the first initial map for the map intro needs to be in the world map. So the only thing that ends up being in the world map is going to be a map info file, which is going to be the initial Kickstarter of our first level that we want to load. So the first thing that he will do is he will start being in this empty world level, and he will see, okay, we have a map info file. So this is the first map that I'm trying to load, and this is going to be the map intro tutorial. From there, it will end up loading the next map, and then it will take us to the next map, and that will take us to the next map. So this is how the loading and transition system works in the advanced framework. And I hope it wasn't too confusing. I think it should all be very straightforward. And obviously you have to create multiple maps to get this up and running. But I think it really makes for very nice transitions. So yes, this is everything, and I hope I see you in the next video.